Good morning, everyone. And first of all, thank you for inviting us over for this event. Actually, it was a quite nice introduction because I think we will be tapping on what you just talked about. I will be giving some case examples into what Lego has been doing for the past 5 years, not only in crowdsourcing but also in open innovation. And I will be ending up telling some or giving some insights to what the real issues for bringing crowdsourcing and open innovation into a big established company that's working very well on a established product development platform for 80 years. What kind of impact that bring, both to the crowd but also to the corporate. I want to do 2 fly-ins first. So I'm not going to give the standard corporate introduction. I assume that most of the crowd knows, most of the public here knows what Lego is all about. I want to give some context to what we are writing open innovation into by where the company are today. And then I want to do an fly-in number 2 based on what crowd we really have. So the big corporate introduction goes on this slide. It's a family-owned company based in a small town of Denmark. And I don't want to go through all the different numbers here, just pointed to you that the figures are in Danish kroner, sorry for that, but if you want to translate it, a dollar for me costs 5.6 Danish kroner. So that's the currency. What's really important to know here is at the bottom row, first of all, we've been over the past 8 years, since we actually had a crisis 8 years ago where we nearly went bankrupt. We've been growing extensively. Year on year, we've had a growth rate over the past 8 years that turns into between 18 and 25% year on year. And that's turned into, not as this slide shows that we are the third, but we are actually now the second largest toy company in the world. And we do that by selling products in 130 countries, and our products, we have a renewable rate of 80% of our products we renew every year. So that's the basics. So a fairly successful company. Based on products you may know, we have products for preschool, we have creative products, and we have quite extensive series of play themes, and then also more in the line of more engineering, like Mindstorms and stuff. So it's all, and it's all done in a classic way by a classic model. The classic model, it's a classic stage gate, where, as you can see, we develop our products over a period of 2 years. So a classic stage gate where we start by doing portfolio, look into the portfolio and decide on directions, and then we go into a process of 12 months to create the products that we put live. So basically a very successful stage gate model where we are approximately around 150 to 200 products a year based on this model coming out, or ideas to products coming out in a very standard way. So that's the fly-in from corporate. We have a very well-established model going on. It's a company. The company is 60 years old. We haven't done Lego bricks that long, but since the 60s we've done Lego bricks. And the keynote here is to understand that the model the stage-gate model and the way we develop and put products to markets standard-wise is very successful. What we also have is a huge base of fans. So I want to pose some questions to the crowd here. And usually I know the answer. I'm not that sure today because the crowd here is somewhat different than what I'm used to. So I hope this works. So raise your hands. How many have played with Lego as a child? So raise your hands. How many have bought Lego for your child recently? And raise your hands. How many have bought Lego for themselves recently? So I see that we have at least a few. There's, it obviously shows there's a lot who knows about the product and the brand. But it also shows that we have a huge group of interested people that stay close to the brand even when grown up. So we have huge groups worldwide connected to the brand and actually staying as a core target purchaser of Lego products. So we categorize them as AFOs, that's adult fans of Lego. And they're a type of customer that really, it's a high affinity customer that usually uses a lot of their spare money to buy Lego sets. And it's not only the cheaper Lego sets, it's the high skill, high volume, and they really use them to do amazing stuff. So they don't only purchase a lot, they also share it a lot on the internet between each other and to the crowd. And also the example of the Lego user groups is just to show that they also help us organize events and display Lego for, what does it say? 3.7 actually, 3.7 million people they reach out to by their own organization. So that has nothing to do with Lego as such. We obviously facilitate them, but they are the ones really running the stuff. So we have a company that's really successful with the product, and we have a huge fan base of not only kids, but also grown-ups with high affinity to the brand, and with a long history together with the brand. So what can we turn that into? And this is also to show that we've been into not necessarily crowdsourcing, but we've been working together with users for years, developing products. It's been in different ways. It's been, I have a couple of examples up here. I want to draw attention to the first one being Lego architecture. I don't know how many of you know that product line, but since, and correct me if I'm wrong, Diver, since 2008, we established a co-creation or co-partnership with a AFOL Lego fan called Adam Tucker, who was, he's an architect, and he brought the idea to Lego of building architect models and trying to establish that as a product line of Lego. So we did that in a non-Lego standard way. We did that where we actually said to him, okay, put to him to make the products, and he actually got a share of the profits. So he was making the products, and we were kind of like the channel for sale. And that's turned into a quite successful product line for both us and Adam Tucker. And if we go a bit further back in history, we go to 1997 or 8, where we launched the first Mindstorms. The story here was that through a period before that, we launched it in 1997, and a period before that of 7 years, we've had 7 to 10 engineers working on a yearly basis together with MIT to launch this product. So 7 to 10 engineers on a yearly basis. And then what happened? Within 3 weeks, we sold 80,000 units, and we got 1,000 hackers hacking the system. It wasn't a tent to be hacked, I could tell you. But that led to that the second and the third generation, actually we ended up opening the software and the hardware for people to co-create software parts and also hardware parts to the Mindstorms product. And as an impact, we've seen small entrepreneurs actually getting their daily work through selling accessory items to the Mindstorms. So small entrepreneurs actually building their business on the Lego brick. So we ended up opening the software, opening the hardware to the community with amazing results, basically. And the second and third generation Mindstorms has been co-created with lead users. So now I want to go into the case examples. What I wanted to show was that it's a successful company in a standard development model with a big community and crowd as a backend. And what we've been using that for in the past years, since 2008, in the crowdsourcing open innovation area, is first of all the Lego Cuusoo, and more recently we've also started some open innovation initiatives internally based on the Chaotix platform. But the case today would be the Lego Cuusoo. So we started a collaboration with a Japanese company called Cuusoo that in 2008 was pioneering also the crowdsourcing space. And what we wanted to try to do was to investigate crowd-based business models and find out how they were working together with the big corporate machine. So we set out to establish a website. In the beginning, it was in Japanese, so we could really experiment without not necessarily getting hit by the big masses. So for the first couple of years, we were only in Japanese, but then we turned it into a global service. In late 11, and that has now turned into a site where we have 400,000 users submitting ideas to us for the next Lego products. And how does it work? If you are 18 or above, you're able to submit ideas to Lego products, and you can have the community vote on the products they like the most. And if you reach 10,000, we promise that we will do a review internally and decide whether or not we will produce a product. So that has turned into a quite substantial pipeline of ideas. We have 5,000 active ideas and more than 25,000 ideas on the platform. And we've produced up till now 4 products that in each way has been performing very well. So just the story of of the Minecraft is a good example, and an originator made a submission of the idea of doing a Lego product based on the Minecraft game. I don't know if you know the game, but basically the Minecraft game is kind of like the digital version sandbox game of Lego. So it's building blocks in a virtual world. So basically the match was made in heaven, and once the Swedish company behind the Minecraft saw the idea on the Cuusoo platform, they made a tweet, and they have a community behind Minecraft that's more than 25 million users around the world. So within 48 hours, we had 1 million views on the page. And it was, business-wise, it was a match made in heaven, so we decided to make the product. And it's proven substantially performing very well, also showing that we've had potential enough to actually launch additional 2 products in that product line. So, now I've been talking about 2 fly-ins. Now I want to go into the more critical stuff of what that means to corporate. So, what's very important is to notice that crowdsourcing as a business model is never going to be taking over the entire business of Lego. So it's always going to be a model that will coexist alongside with an existing well-established model. And it not only coexist, but we actually need to have integrations points between the different areas. So what do I mean by that? So say that we have an idea to a product that we want to launch to the market. We need to plan the launch in the production windows that we have in our factories anyway. So that could give a lead time for the product that's substantially longer than what the crowd would expect. So why is that? One of the main reasons, obviously, is supply chain management, but also in terms of if we are interested in getting mass retail behind a product, we need to tie it into shelf space in real stores. And shelf space in stores are planned in advance. So it doesn't work for Toys R Us when we do a portfolio of Cuusoo products where I come to Toys R Us and say, in 3 months we will come with a new product, but I'm not sure what it's going to be. And right now we've had a portfolio that is pointing in every direction. We have something that ties to kids. It's kids playing the Minecraft game, and also the DeLorean. That's not really kids, right? That's male persons at my age, and I'm 40 plus. So in that sense, I couldn't bring a portfolio to Target, Walmart, or Toys R Us saying this is a clear direction on what it is. So the way we are mitigating that is to work with online retail in the launch perspective. So basically, the Minecraft and DeLorean was mostly launched on offerings like Amazon and our own retail, online retail. And then if it proves potential to stay on long enough, it's something that we decide to offer to in-store retailers. So that's just an example of what we need to work with in terms of both educating corporate, but also educating crowd. So the very important thing is that the models don't only coexist, they actually interact with each other. So what are the main points, just before I hopefully get to do a quick Q&A? One of the main challenges, as I talked about, was lead time to market. And that's about educating crowd to understand that as soon as you've submitted an idea and reached the point of decision, that doesn't mean that we produce tomorrow. Second, learning the corporate to trust the prediction of the markets. So we've seen the Minecraft, but hitting the roof within 48 hours, but still our forecasts were somewhat conservative and turned out very hard to turn around for the markets anyway. And also one of the key areas for us has been, okay, what happens when somebody in the crowd submits an idea that we have been working on for more than 2 years internally and are actually on the way? So the concept is that once you submit an idea, you give the ownership to Lego, and if we decide to produce, we actually give you 1% of our revenue on that product. So there's money involved between the originator and us. So that bullet point there is very significant. Also a thing that we need to look at is that our competitors are looking. If on the platform there is a trend occurring that we cannot act upon for several different reasons, we might see a risk of our competitors actually acting upon a trend that we showed them. And also, being open and in dialogue with users, we bear the risk of showing our internal strategies in our communication, maybe sometimes unintentionally. So in deciding on a product or not, we can potentially show what our internal, and bear in mind our fans have a huge memory of our history. So they can often figure out, based on what we communicate, what the underlying strategic decision points have been, and they talk about them. Mass retail and crowd trends. So I talked about the retail windows. Supply chain reactions. Obviously, our supply chain is planned in a traditional model. It's about availability of elements and stuff like that. How do we handle that when we need to act upon a wave from a crowd to move a product? And then finally, there's a risk of the employees feeling threatened by ideas coming from the outside. So what does that mean? We've seen a trend of IPs on the Lego Cuusoo side. And a lot of the IPs were none of the IPs that our licensing department had picked out. So does that really threaten the licensing department? And what about the Lego designers? We pushed the work of designing a Lego product to the crowd. What does that put our Lego designers at risk? And what's the problem of them looking at the platform and then be accused of stealing ideas on the platform? Bear in mind, we have a system that people obviously understand how we combine in products. So the difference between a fan-made model and a Lego designer-made model isn't that great, because they understand the way we do our products. So that's basically what I want to share with you, that we are always going to be heavily involving our users in product development and open innovation. And right now, the platforms are crowdsourcing, but it could be many more things coming in the future. And all this is because we want to inspire, develop the builders of tomorrow, but we also want ourselves to be inspired and developed by the builders of tomorrow. So that was my 50 cents for today, and opening for 2 minutes of Q&A.
You said that if an idea gets to 10,000, then that's something that you're definitely going to consider developing. Right. Have you seen where, let's say, an idea goes way past 10,000 and you develop it? Is there a correlation that the market will pick it up because the crowd said this is a terrific idea?
I'm not sure I can answer specifically because we actually stopped the voting at 10,000, so we don't see the trends going beyond. But saying that, I would the immediate understanding would be, okay, so a product with 10,000 votes in 48 hours would be substantially more potential than the DeLorean, that took 272 days.
I see.
But for a market perspective, that has actually proven not the case. The DeLorean is maybe not successful to the same level, but still very successful.
Thank you.
So we are building the crowd, or building the marketing, building the sales by this as well. Anyone else? Yeah?
You said you give 1% to the person that gives you the idea.
Yeah.
On revenue. Once you'd say we like this idea, does that person have any involvement with the development of the product, or you say that we'll see you later and we'll see in the marketplace?
Yes, yes and no. We have that's also actually a critical point, because often the idea posed by an originator, we need to build through to make sure that it's actually a Lego product that we can put on the market, and we sometimes need to do substantial changes. But they are involved in those changes. But coming back to your 1% question, actually is proven not to be the 1% that's important for the originator. In almost any case of the examples up there, the originator has donated the 1% to charity. So it's not about the money, it's about the street credit, and it's about getting your name on the product.
So have you done any studies around the crowd? Do you know its demographics? And are you, through other products or through your other channels of PR, encouraging for the creation or expansion of this crowd?
So we obviously know the demographics of the crowd. So basically the dynamics pretty much follow our main markets. So the crowd size is bigger in US as opposed to Central Europe, but it's US, UK, and then Central Europe in size. But with the exception of a fairly big amount of Japanese, but that comes with a history of the platform.
What do you guys do to manage the crowd?
That's actually really good. We do a lot, and one of the main issues is that we've been in beta since 2008, and we want to go out of beta, but we want to learn the mechanisms before we put it into full service. So one example is, in the beginning, it was totally open what you could submit. And we got back to some of the questions yesterday. Be sure to answer your question correctly. So we answered, or we asked a fully open question and got a lot of crap. First of all, we increased the age to be participating to 18 plus. And then we made the rules that it needs to be brick-based products, and that way we can ensure that it's something that we can produce in our product line. And then we have a whole department, community engagement, managing and monitoring, and also pre-moderation of products. So we have a screening before anything goes live to ensure that that the content of the submission is have a brand fit.
So there's a significant overhead to...
Yes, yes.
And a lot of people seem to think crowdsourcing is a free solution. I think it's important to note that.
This is not free, but I would say it like that we've been profitable since day one. So profitable based on the products we are selling coming out of the platform. But unfortunately, I also have to tell you, when seeing the sales numbers of Lego, crowdsourcing as an effect of that is not that substantial. So it's not anything that is really getting into the big books of Lego. It's more, we are doing this more in the sense of community engagement and building our crowd. And obviously understanding new business models, but it's hard to compete with a big machine that's running very well.
I wanted to ask a question about how, I'm following up on the gentleman, how diverse is the crowd, meaning more like what are their backgrounds, not just what country they come from, but you know, are we looking at just like MIT geeks, or I mean, who's actually submitting stuff to you?
Depends on if you're looking only at the A-Force, but if you're looking at the crowds that are on the Cuusoo platform, is actually very diverse, because when we launched the platform, we thought it as a service for our adult fans, but it turned into be something that, you know, some IP plus Lego equals a great product, and suddenly there was big IPs with communities that didn't have that much affinity to the brand that came to us. So it's not only geeky MIT engineers. It's ordinary people, mostly male, and between 18 and 40.
And but you're saying that you see the crowdsourcing as a way to extend your actual influence within your own community and also to extend your community.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. I have to cut it, I'm afraid. Of course, I know we could keep talking for a long time. Troels, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very interesting.